is not a drill. This is not a drill. This is the OT Sports Show. Back after a long hiatus, a very long hiatus. You pull the rock. Finally, the OT Sports Show has come back to Facebook and YouTube. So glad to see you all here on today. This is Omar Pickett here live with Trent. How you feeling, man?
Man, it's good. It's good. It's good. We got a few topics to talk about. We're gonna get it chopping, talking about a few things, and we're gonna make it happen. Make it happen.
I got a quick message I want to put out there on Facebook really quick. I just want to make sure that this message, this message is specifically for Facebook. Please don't copyright us this go around. The countdown is not copyrighted. Nobody can claim the countdown. I want to make sure that's really clear because that happened last time. I just want to put that out there. I was going to make a sign like Chad Johnson did, which said, "Please don't find me." I was like, "Please don't copyright strike me," but I just want to put this out there. But very happy, good to be back. We have been battling the head of the python over these last few weeks. The serpent, the devil, the slewfoot, the enemy, everything you want to call them. Trent, tell them what we've been doing.
We've been working with Python computer coding out here, trying to change careers out here.
Satan incarnate, the enemy. They do everything they can to try to keep you away, but we're gonna conquer this demon in Jesus' name. But we have to talk about the finals. We have to talk about what happened, and from there we're gonna go on and talk about the NBA finals. So we got to give our final thoughts. Of course, if you're seeing this, like, subscribe, share, engage with us. Once again, we just want to talk a little bit about the finals and everything that's been going on. But of course, as we know with the NBA finals, from what we saw, it was the Golden State Warriors and the Boston Celtics. Trent, what happened? Who won?
All the talk, all this stuff about Boston having 84% chance of winning and that horrible game one on the behalf of Golden State. Everybody was talking about this and that. The dynasty is over. It's time for the new kids on the block to step up. It's finally Horford's time. It's Tatum's time, and all this stuff that was being said. It all came to naught. Because them boys in Golden State, the Splash Brothers, specifically the Splash Brother and the young man from Canada had other things to say. They said they're not done yet.
No, I think the problem is the Splash Brothers ended up beating the Apple turnovers. That's what they were. They were the Apple turnovers much more than they were the Boston Celtics because they had more. If you look at the games they lost, they really lost based off turnovers. I'll put it out there. I thought Boston was going to win the series. I was rooting for Golden State. But if you looked at the way Boston was built defensively, how you put a team together, they were built to beat Golden State. But they kept turning the ball over. You can't beat Golden State 20 turnovers a game. As interesting as their defensive strategy was to basically JJ Redick. I love how JJ Redick was really breaking it down on this podcast, how they were not, when Steph would come off the ball screen, instead of hedging on the ball screen, like Coach McKillop would say, instead of jumping out on the ball screen, instead of switching, Al Horford would stay in the paint and basically was giving Steph open 3-point shots. As much as that was being talked about, the major issue was all the turnovers. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart. My goodness, all these turnovers. That's what I really pay attention to me. What else you got to say, Trent?
I agree with you perfectly. It was almost, and I feel you, because on paper, I just felt like they had the team. So I understood where you came from on paper. Look at on paper. But I just did not think that you had it up here. I think they had all the talent. I think they had all the talent and everything necessary to do, to win, except for their mentality. They didn't have the mind, that they didn't have the championship pedigree. And I know you can't have it until you do it, and somebody has to have it. You know what I mean? So for example, when when Golden State beat the Cavaliers, right? Bron had won a championship, right? But it was just that they were ready. And I just did not feel like Boston was at the point of being ready. I mean, I also must admit, I didn't think that Golden State was ready either at that time, but they made it happen. And, and just Boston just proved that they just simply weren't ready. They just weren't ready yet.
I just tell you, I put it like this. I think the critical game for me, I was, I felt good until you get into game 5. Steph has an off game,
That was the game.
Those sort of games. You go on this huge run in the third quarter. You take the lead. I'm like, well, here you go. And Boston had not, at that point, every time they lost, they had always recovered. They had always done what needed to be done to make the comeback. They had not lost twice. And so you're figuring, here we go. They're going to do this again. They're going to make it to the comeback. And then I don't know what happened in the fourth quarter.
It's you just gotta beat, in order to beat the champ, you gotta beat the champ. And I just don't think Golden State just ain't ready to let it go. I mean, they're not ready to let it go. And I'm not sure if they can't get better. There's still something there that we may not have seen this version of Golden State's best basketball yet.
Well, a lot of that's going to depend on what happens with the free agency talk. But I think at the end of the day, Jason Tatum cannot. You're 6'10". You can't let Steph guard you.
Never.
You are 6'10".
You can never let that happen. That is just.
Anytime that Steph Curry is guarding Jason Tatum, he should be taking him into the lane. And there were so many times where Jason Tatum, I mean, you talk about making it look nice, making it look pretty, get to the lane, and the bunny is off. He takes a shot, it's off. He drives in the lane, he turns the ball over.
Honest, not just that, not just Steph, even Clay. He was going around Clay with ease, but he wasn't finishing. Clay couldn't stay in front of him, couldn't check him either. He was bullying Clay. I just didn't understand. He just was. It just wasn't going down, man. It just wasn't going down. You got to make the shots, man. You just got to. You got to make.
I just feel like at the end of the day, what's going to be needed is, and this is my thing, and I'll talk about this a little later. When it comes to the Boston Celtics, if I'm the GM, I'm keeping that team exactly the same, and I'm going to Jason Tatum, I'm going to Jaylen Brown, and say, look, y'all just got to be better. This team can win a championship. You just got to be better. You can't turn the ball over 10 times a game per player and think you're going to beat a team like the Golden State Warriors. If the Boston Celtics aren't making those turnovers, they probably win the championship. But I mean, you just can't. You can't. I mean, they had those problems the whole playoffs, but you just can't. You can't have those apple turnovers like they were having in the finals.
Man, it was terrible. It was terrible. Yeah, man. You can't do that. You can't do nothing with the ball if you ain't got it. That's a Madden quote for you. but it's true. But it's true. You can't do nothing with the ball if you don't have it. And they just, up here. And I feel like that's what I'm saying. It's up here. You gotta have it up here. If you ain't got it up here, you can have all the talent and all the ability in the world, which I believe Boston had. But really be honest, and it was also because of the prior series. What I saw from the Miami series was not a team that was going to beat Golden State. I really felt like to me, the best player on the court, the player that played the best, as in during the course of it, as in maybe not as consistently, but I'm talking about when they were the best performance, was in any game of that series was Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler was hooping, man. Jimmy Butler was hooping. If the young man would have been healthy, that's all they would have needed for that series to be over in 6. But because he wasn't healthy, it is what it is. That's life. But what I saw from them, even defensively, I just didn't like it. I was like, okay, defensive player of the year, but really top to bottom, I just wasn't impressed. I wasn't impressed.
I,
And I just, it is what it is. I just did not. I just did not. I said, you know what? This team isn't gonna beat Golden State. It just isn't. And everybody was talking about game one. After game one, all this stuff. Then you saw that the 84% to win and go to state 16. And it's like, yeah, okay, whatever. Over one game. Everybody reacting to one game in a 7-game series. And what happened? They won one more, and that's it.
I think one thing that is brought up a lot, one thing that we don't bring up, I also wonder how much Boston may have ran out of gas. You're playing 2 straight 7-game series and then going straight to the finals from a team that's not used to getting that far. I wonder how much of that plays a role into what happened and why they may have ran out of gas.
Yeah, that's possible too. That's possible too. But I really, if they were really as good as what they should have been, Miami shouldn't even have gone to game. The Miami series shouldn't have gone to 7 games. And when you really look at it, that game, the big game in that series to me was the one where Jimmy Butler left at halftime, and they still lost. Like you let that Miami team without Jimmy Butler, yeah, they had a 15-point lead at halftime, but that's a long time to manage a 15-point lead. And you telling me y'all couldn't beat them? Like at that point, yeah. And those cold them droughts they had in that game without Jimmy
right?
Butler there,
you know why they lost, right?
That they just weren't ready.
You know why they lost that game, right? They made their huge run when Jason Tatum was out of the game. And then as soon as Jason Tatum came back in, because he was having one of those games, man.
But you know what? Another thing I noticed from him was his shot selection. Bro, like, stop shooting them daggone threes all the time. Drive the ball. Get to the bucket. Clay can't stay in front of you. Lord knows Steph can't go to the goal and dunk on their face. That's what you know what I mean? Like
today's NBA, Trent. It's today's NBA.
You imagine if I say this, and I will say this. If that's 24-year-old LeBron, man, shoot. He had 40 in every one of them games. He'd have been dunking on all them boys so many times. As horrible as they were, man, shoot.
That's today's NBA. That's today's NBA. They everybody wants to shoot the three. Everybody wants to shoot the three, and sometimes you gotta break out of that mold. Sometimes, but let's get into one of our other topics. Since we're talking about this, I do want to get into the season ends, and I want to get into what do we think is going to happen. Basically, what's our prognostications for next year? I know Golden State very much is still favored to potentially get back to the NBA Finals and to win another championship. But Trent, tell me what you see.
Man, I wouldn't be surprised if they did, because you look at it now. Do you realize how much this helped? This helps Poole's confidence, who already has taken steps. I just think him winning like they did this year, and him as young as he is, I think eventually he's going to be the man. Like Steph is going to pass the torch to him eventually. I really do believe that. And at this point, I just think that they're really setting them up. And then I'm thinking what is Wiseman going to be? And then he just happens if they can just get him to be healthy. I mean, the dude was averaging like 12-7, 12-8, something like that, 13-8 when he got hurt. When he played a few games. He did play a few games. And it's just like, they could really be their ability to draft, and everything is just, because that's how they've done what they've done for the most part. Minus, of course, you got KD, but 2 of their rings have been simply the draft. So, I just think as they continue to do that, they continue to draft good, man. Who's to say that this dynasty won't just simply continue? I wouldn't be surprised if they won it again next year. At least they're definitely going to be a competitor.
for me, I know that I am scared about Golden State. I don't really know what to think right now because they have a lot of unrestricted and restricted free agents. So for me, I want to see what does the team look like. A lot of players that want to stay, but are people that's going to get offers. Is someone going to someone's going to make a play for Kevon Looney?
Oh yeah,
The way, yeah, the way Kevon Looney played in these last few games, getting playoff games with 20 plus rebounds, someone's going to make a play for him.
because
So, go
if
ahead.
you really look at it, Steph, Looney, and Wiggins were the best players.
I'm sorry. Say it again, Trent. I'm sorry. Say it again.
Steph, Looney, and Wiggins were the best players on Golden State's team. Like during this championship, most consistent. They brought it. They brought it. I think more often than anybody else on Golden State. I mean, Looney was taking care of business. I mean, I know his role isn't really big, but as far as doing what we put you here to do, Looney was doing this thing. Wiggins was doing this thing. And I think Looney's. He's gonna get an offer. He's gonna get some money. Somebody's gonna throw some money at him.
And then you're talking about during the finals, there was the rumor that was going out that the Golden State Warriors was going to give a max contract to Jordan Poole and trade Andrew Wiggins. After this final, I have no idea how you could do that. There is no way, no how you can trade Andrew Wiggins after what you just saw in this final, because he was their second best player. Not even play.
You know what it remind me of? This is one of them Philadelphia decisions. What do you do? do you pay do you go with what's the brother's name? Do you go with Foles or do you go with Wentz? And not in and it wasn't that bad because the boy didn't hurt himself. But I'm just saying, Foles, how he played, he got them that ring. How he played in that Super Bowl. That playoff, the playoff run period. The boy got them the ring. Then him and the defense. But turn around and say, well, we just have these hopes and dreams of Wentz becoming what we thinking he's gonna become. I mean, do you wanna bet on that? Do you want to bet on Poole that Poole's gonna continue to do and to get better and like and give him that max and do all that? Or do you want to already pay the person that's already performed at a high level on the big stage?
Wiggins won an All-Star this year. Wiggins, there was an outside shot. It wasn't going to happen. There was an outside shot. He could have been Finals MVP.
Oh yeah.
No, I'm not. You can't let that go. And I think it's funny because of all the criticism Golden State got for trading for Wiggins. And now look at how good he is. This is a real testament to this Golden State's roster looks like before I picked them. But crazily, I still like the Boston Celtics. I'm sorry, I do. Yeah, they turned the ball over a lot in the finals. Yes, they lost this final. Yes, Jason Tatum did not look good. Yes, he's going to be the butt end of a lot of jokes. But you know who was the butt end of a lot of jokes after looking bad in the finals? LeBron against Dallas. And then what did he do the next year? He came back, he dominated, he won MVP, and he won a championship. It would not shock me if Jason Tatum and them take that type of – if he's as big a Kobe fan as he says he is, Jason Tatum's going to take a big step forward. This is a player that was an all-NBA player and then had a bad final. You don't think this dude is going to fester in that and turn around and have a big-time offseason and have a big-time regular season? I think Boston's taking the next step. I do think Tatum's going to take that step.
I think
he better.
My thing is, I just think that it is. I'm not going to say that for the fact that I think there are moves that teams could do to come back and be better. Because I'm curious to see what's going to happen with Utah. Are they going to get rid of Jobert? And where is he going to go if they do get rid of him? I mean, I think there's possibilities that could happen. Some roster shakeups that could make it to where there's going to be a team that could become better than Boston. And I'm just still not convinced on them, to be honest. I'm just not. It's not convinced. It's not. I hear you. I'm just not.
I tell you, I like what I see from him. I do. I hope they don't change a thing. I don't know. I know a lot of people are going to be clamoring for them to get a point guard. I just think they need to go to Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, sit them down at this final and say, y'all got to take the next step. That's all I would do. I would not change a thing. They've got length. They've got defense. They've got shooting, as you all can see.
Yeah.
They just need Jason Tatum to play up to his potential. Jason Tatum was giving you 50 burgers in the regular season. He was dropping 50 in some games in the regular season.
Yeah.
You didn't see any of that. Once you really got past the second round, you didn't see any of that from Jason Tatum. And he's much better than that. So I really think he's going to take that next step. I do. So, I mean, I'm a big fan of how Boston's put their team together. You know, keep in mind, that was that coach's first season. No one really had those type of expectations for the Celtics. They made a big turnaround. So I like what I see. I will see. But I still like Boston a lot. I want to see what Golden State does with their roster. I want to see what happens with Kyrie and see if Kyrie ends up on the Clippers. Because if Kyrie ends up on the Clippers, oh my, that may be really interesting in the 30% games that Kyrie decides to play.
Kyrie, what about Kawhi? You mean 30% and plus 0%?
Oh my goodness, Lord!
Is he gonna real full season again? Tell me that before I
This is gonna be the most dangerous team in 30 of the 82 games in all the NBA. But we'll see. I'm telling you. So there's a lot that could happen, but I still like the teams that went to the finals. We'll see what happens with the Heat. Will the Heat make a move for somebody? What's Philly gonna do? What's gonna happen is
the Heat need to get a team doctor. I don't know
they need to get rid of what you call it, Kyle Lowry. You know, they need to get rid of it.
I just still think it was injuries, man. Injuries. People were. You gotta also understand what Kyle Lowry was coming back from injury when he came in. When he came in in the playoffs, he was coming back from injury.
I'm not sold on him.
Play bad.
I'm not sold on him. I think they gotta look somewhere else. Jimmy Butler needs help, but it can't be. Yeah, Tyler Hero. I can be your hero. Let me see. I'm getting silly now these last few minutes. Let's get to the.
Was hurt. Hero was hurt. Butler was hurt. To be honest, I'm not really a big Hero fan though. I'm really not.
Hey, 40% from three. I mean, come on. I mean, that's a lot.
40% from three, whether they don't matter. Yeah.
Real jacked up. But let's put it like this. Let's end with this topic right here. Of course, we talked about the Warriors, them winning the NBA Finals. That gives Steph Curry his 4th championship. And of course, all the sports media talk is Steph Curry now a top 10 all-time player? And so you had some people who said yes. You had your Shannon Sharps and your Chris Broussards that said yes. And then you've got your Nick Wrights and your Skip Baylesses and all those other bad commentators who said no. I'm not going to put that out there. But now the question becomes, Trent, is Stephen Curry a top 10 all-time player? I'm going to start with you. You go ahead. And the answer is yes.
I like
the answer is yes. Go ahead.
I like Steph a whole lot.
I gave you the answer, so I don't know why you're still working on it.
I'm going to say at this point, I still got him at like 10B. I still have him at 10B. And I know the things that you're going to say. I get it. But I just personally have a hard time elevating someone so high. I need one more. Give me one more championship, I give it to him. Give me one more. Then I'll put him up there. But somebody, I just have a problem elevating somebody who's a one-way player. I'm sorry. I feel like top 10, you got to be two-way. You got to be a two-way player. Got to be.
So let me tell you how I respond to that. First of all, you just need to be saved. That's the first thing I would tell you. But there's a couple things I would tell you. So first off, let's look at our all-time list. I'm going to remove this banner because I want everyone to kind of see where it's going. First off, I think it's really important that there were a lot of people who were doing this debate and they were doing this topic, and they were saying, yeah, he is, yeah, he isn't, but they weren't revealing what their top 10 is. The real issue when it comes to deciding the top 10 is that there's only 10 players. And if you're going to put Steph Curry in the top 10, you need to have the courage of your convictions to say who you're going to take out. So, yes, I did put Steph Curry in the top 10 after this championship. I thought about it. I pondered it. I knew Trenton was going to bring up the thing about a two-way player, but I do believe that at this point, you're talking about a player that has won 4 championships with 3 different iterations of the same team. You're talking about a player that, when you look at the top 10 all-time players, I also think it's important that at some point you need to be the greatest ever at something. Steph Curry is the greatest shooter of all time, the greatest three-point shooter of all time, the greatest free throw shooter of all time. And now, from a leadership perspective, he led a team to a championship pre-KD, the KD teams to a championship, post-KD to a championship. So the leadership you see right there. The only person I could think of that led 3 different iterations of a team to a championship, maybe outside of LeBron, because it was actually different teams, but 3 iterations of the same team is Tim Duncan. So in my opinion, when I see Steph, I see almost a guard version of Duncan. And so in my mind, being able to lead 3 different iterations of the same team to championships and be big factors in that is a reason why I'm placing him in the top 10. He is still the only unanimous MVP in the history of the NBA. He's the only person in the history of the NBA to average 30 points a game in the NBA Finals with shooting less than 5 free throws. And then when it comes to the two-way players, a couple things I want to bring up. There's only a very few players on this list that are complete players. These other players are not complete players. Was Shaq shooting threes? Shaq was a under 70% free throw shooter. Why are we holding that against them? Was Russell shooting threes? Was Will shooting these things? So we can always point out deficiencies in somebody's game. And also at the end of the day, when it comes to defensively, there's a lot of people who will point out, will say, well, Steph's not a good defender. Hold on. Let me finish. Let me finish. Steph is also the point guard for a team that consistently ranks in the top 3 on defense. So he cannot be a bad defender and be the starting point guard on a team that is consistently a top 3 defense. He may not be an all-NBA defender, but there's no way we're going to continue with this notion that he's a bad defender, because you can't put James Harden and his I don't know how to play defense self on the Golden State Warriors and they be a top 3 defense. So is he a great on-ball defender? No, maybe not. But you know what he may be? But you know what he may end up being? He may end up being a player that helps get you steals, that plays passing lanes very well, that shows good basketball IQ. And plus, if you look at these NBA finals, if you look at Jason Tatum, Luka Doncic, and let me see, Jason Tatum and Luka Doncic, and you look at how Steph played when he guarded them, and John Morant, all 3 of them shot under 40% when they were guarded by Steph. So all 3 great players, but Steph played good defense on all 3 of them statistically over these playoffs. So is he an elite defender? Maybe not. But he's a good enough defender at the end of the day. And what he does to be the greatest at the basketball position, the greatest shooter, the greatest three-point shooter, the greatest free throw shooter, that has to be taken in mind. I'm going to put players in that are pretty good at – I'd rather have someone who's the greatest at something in my top 10 than people who are really good but not the best at anything. So, yeah, I put Steph in my top 10. I'm good with it. Now you can go ahead, Trenton. The floor is yours.
I just feel like the all defensive teams. He made a few all defensive teams. Larry, I just can't take Larry off. Then I get it. And then your boy Steph has changed. He has changed basketball, even culturally. But Larry Bird and Magic did some great things for basketball as well. I just don't think it's right.
And had better teams.
Yeah.
And had better teams.
Oh, they did. They did.
And they had better teams.
They did. Yeah.
Steph has won 4 championships with worse teams than what Larry had.
Well, I agree. I agree. But he's had some great teams, though. He's
And
had some great
what is Larry the greatest at all time at?
You said what?
What is Larry the greatest at all time at?
I cannot say. I
Let's
don't
not
think.
get in trouble. Okay.
I don't think
Okay.
it's
I'm just saying.
say.
Well, we'll see what Luke has to say about that. We'll just put it like
hey,
that.
hey, he might be in the throne right now.
Hey, I'm just saying, but I'm just saying, give me somebody who basketball skill wise is the greatest at something. Shaq, greatest offensive force. Duncan, greatest power forward. Russell, greatest champion. Magic, greatest passer. Perhaps greatest point guard. Wilt, greatest offensive force. LeBron, greatest all-around player. Kareem, best scorer ever. And MJ, of course. Give me the greatest something. The only person that really doesn't have that greatest at something is Kobe. But
because
Kobe's resume, he's got to be on there.
I mean, he's Jordan. That's what it is. I mean, he's a copy, and I mean that's why I think some people. I said this before. I took that. I made that a negative for Kobe for a while. I did, but still, you just can't argue with the output, with the stats. You can't argue with with the results. The man was great. Yeah, he copied Jordan, but if it was that easy, everybody would do it, and everybody would win 5 championships doing it. And they didn't.
And just because I don't have Larry Bird at the top 10 doesn't mean that I don't think Larry Bird is great. This isn't some, there's thousands of players who play in the NBA. You only pick 10. And so, in my opinion, I believe what Steph has done and what he has accomplished. I believe he belongs on that list. I do. Now, if he wins another championship, another Finals MVP, then we start looking to see if he gets to the Duncan level. Now, I think the higher you get, the more you have to split hairs. But yeah, I think that's worth it. I think some of this talk has been done.
But to be honest, I say Larry. Right? I don't have him on my list. But if he wins this next one, he jumps up to at least over Shaq too. He jumps up over both. To me, those two are gonna come with a package deal.
I think if he wins another championship and maybe gets another Finals MVP on top of it, I think he jumps Duncan. He jumps Duncan in my book. I don't. Yeah, I would talk about your list, Trent. I have no idea. I still, to this day, have no idea how you have Duncan fourth. I just don't understand that. I have no. Let me ask you this because I want to end with this. You talked about having Duncan fourth. I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Okay, what's up?
You have Tim Duncan,
as
a top 5 NBA player all time. Was there every time in Tim Duncan's career that he was definitively the best player on the planet?
Best overall?
The best player on the planet. Was there ever a time where Tim Duncan was considered, besides Skip Bayless, because how he is?
Oh,
was there ever a time when he was considered the best player in the planet? I don't think so, because I
think he was the best power forward for quite a long time, and then also as far as the top, probably top 3, you would have to say top 3 for a long time.
Yeah, so to me, this is my point. I don't know how someone could be in the top 5
guess what?
But never be considered the best at any one time.
I mean, one of the guys up there is LeBron.
Yes, I mean that's true too. But before LeBron was the best, it was Shaq and Kobe. Shaq and Kobe were considered better than him. So that's why my issue comes up.
After he ran up my man's chest, he ran up Duncan's chest. Hey, definitely not one of his proudest moments in his Hall of Fame career.
I remember that one time where Shaq dunked on that dude from the Knicks and pushed him on the ground. Shaq was just me.
A bully.
He's a big bully. But yeah, so that's my thing with Duncan. I'm just gonna let that go. But he definitely is a top 10 player. I won't put Steph ahead. Like I said, I think where I've got Steph is the right place. Shannon actually has Larry there and bumped Shaq out. I'm not quite comfortable having Steph ahead of Shaq quite yet. It's close. Maybe by the time Steph's career is over, I'll feel more comfortable. But for right now, I still got the Diesel. 14 combined All NBA teams. Maybe the greatest offensive dominant player in the history of the sport. Just totally unstoppable. I can't not have him in the top 10. That's the way I feel. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to put that out there. But any last words on that topic, Trent? We know you living in sin. I'm gonna keep praying for you because obviously we know Steph is a top 10 player. So
Nah, I think I've said my piece.
I know you just biased. It's okay. It's okay, But yeah, that's kind of really all we wanted to kind of get into with this kind of episode. This was kind of a short and sweet episode. Trent, you want to do any shout outs before we go, man?
Oh, yes, we want to shout out to those from the Scholastic Motivation Ministries from Church of God in Christ. They were really, Dr. Purcell was really a very instrumental in us taking this project on of doing this podcast or internet show or whatever you want to call it right now. But we really have taken something that we love to do and turned it into something that we are able to use public speaking and just our knowledge and love and interest to really just present it to everyone. You really just are enjoying and hoping you're enjoying a conversation between two friends who just love sports, and it's just there's really no this is just an age of internet media, and there's just so much you can do with things like this. And I want to challenge the young people. We want to challenge the young people, to put your brains to work and think about something that you love, something that you enjoy, and then maybe you have friends or a family that enjoy it likewise, and and to take something on. You can do, the possibilities are endless. Just put your mind to it.
Absolutely. And so obviously we're talking sports because that's something that we love, but maybe your interest is politics, maybe it's faith, maybe it's history, maybe it's cooking, maybe it's hair, maybe it's whatever your interest is, think about how you can, really expand yourself and put yourself out there. And that's something that we want all of us to be doing. And certainly as you do it, we'll be following you just as you're following us and seeing how the Lord expands you. So really excited. Thank you all so much for being a part of this show. Thank you all so much, Scholastic Motivation, each and every one of you. Trent, any just last words before I let you go, and last prayer that the Lord changes your heart and puts Steph back in the top 10.
I love Steph. He's a great player, and I need one more he in there for me. Matter of fact, I think either that or retire. If he would have retired today, I probably have to put him in there. But I want some more. I want another.
All right, yeah. All right, you guys. I'm about to pull a Steph. About to put him up. Do one of these right before
Yeah.
Hold on, I think we got a comment. We did get a comment. Good to see you, Cedric Miller. Cedric Miller is saying Steph over Shaq. I can't do it. I can't do it quite yet. It's close.
It's close. It is close. That is close. It is close. It is close.
Shaq has 14 All NBA teams, 3 Finals MVPs, 4 championships, just like Steph. Steph does have 1 extra MVP, and I love the fact that he's the greatest shooter. But Shaq is the most dominant offensive force. It's close.
Didn't hit a free throw to save our life, though.
No, he can't hit a free throw to save his life. Not at all. No, not at all. So I still have Shaq's life.
If I had to choose, I would shoot my own free throw. And I'm not getting free throws. I would shoot it about. I would shoot my own before I let Shaq shoot mine.
We're gonna stop making fun of the Diesel. I tell you what though, I like to have his bank account though. I tell you that.
Hey, the brother he's a genius, man. Business entrepreneur genius.
He said, "Who's stopping the chef?" We'll see. We'll see who stops him. But like I said, there's nothing. Keep in mind, Steph's career is not over. So by the time his career ends, he may end up passing Shaq. One big thing on my list, though, I'm going by right now. That's why I still have LeBron 3. A lot of people have LeBron 2. I have LeBron 3 because I said I'm not going to have him pass Kareem until he passes Kareem in points, which is probably going to happen next year, but I'm not going to do it until it happens. So, at this moment now,
doesn't see a reason to tank,
yeah,
which he makes.
I don't know.
Oh, my hammy. Oh my gosh, my hammy.
You think he's trying to get out of there? You think he's trying to get to Golden State?
Oh, that's dirty. No, I don't think he's trying to pull it. He would. I don't think he would do that.
You think he's trying to get to Golden State so that way that if he wins with Steph, they both have 5 rings. That way, Steph doesn't have more rings than him.
I don't think he's doing that, but I do think he's going to start thinking about preservation. So I think he's already thinking about preservation, so that he can just be around and be still relevant when his son comes.
Cedric saying Shaq could make a free throw in the Scary Movie. I tell you what, if you
are a scary movie.
He just Shaq just throws it. He doesn't even really shoot. He just kind of throws it.
It's like a shot. Like what's that thing called with the bags? What's that?
You playing cornhole with Shaq shooting free throw. I tell you what, if you needed Shaq to hit a free throw to save your life, just tell yourself to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. Just tell yourself that. Just don't even worry about it. But all right, we thank you all so much for being a part one more time of the OT Sports Show. We're going to try to get right back into it, basically, as we're ending this Python course. So we'll be back to talk about all the other things, Kyrie, WNBA, NBA, NFL, all that's coming. So thank you all so much, and we look forward to the next time. Take care, you guys.